Thank you. Good evening, and welcome to the We Are Rise show. I'm your host, Brett C. Collins. How you doing out there on this hump day, on this Wednesday? Cold weather, warm weather, hot weather. Sorry about Monday. I've been dealing with sinuses and other flu-like stuff, so I'm fighting through it. A lot of chicken noodle soup, a lot of soups this week. So it's getting cold in Florida. So up and down, Marshall. It's hot and cold, hot and cold. You're dealing with sinuses too. Let's welcome my co-host, Marshall Smith. What's going on?
Yeah, I had a little not as bad as you, but
Yeah.
we'll get through it. We got 1 week of this and then back in the mid 70s. So I'll take it.
Yeah. I mean, believe me.
Compared to those people up in Minnesota, they're freezing their buns off.
It's not. You know what? I don't mind. Like I said, I don't mind the cold weather at all. It's just when it's hot and cold, and it's just the sign. I feel like I got hit in the head with a baseball bat. I mean, that's what it feels like. But it comes and goes, comes and goes. Yeah, true, Taryn. Yep, I missed you guys on Monday too. So try to make up for it on tomorrow with a pop up. I will be here Friday. Try to do a Sunday show. I'm trying to get back to it in a normal rhythm. Just going through it. Tonight's show, the theft machine doesn't stop. We talked about the audit, what's going on. That's what you're seeing on a daily basis. War has no patience for idealism. We're going to discuss that tonight. That's a very important subject, I think. And that really is germane to what's going on with Greenland, what's going on in Europe, what's going on here in the United States. The sound that kills. Wait to hear about this one. And Pete Cringe, great article. I think it came from American Thinker. We're going to talk about that tonight. Let's welcome in Pill.net. Hello on Rumble. What's going on, True Terran? Good to see you. And everybody on here, let me put this up. We have people in, I think, on YouTube. We are on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen, so it's good to see everybody there. Let me put this up. I know that, let's see, Rizone 9300 there standing by. Good to see you. Welcome in. Please hit the bell to be notified, and all you have to do is subscribe over there and share the commentary on YouTube. Let's welcome in Pill.net. How's everybody doing over here? Good to see everybody. Let's who's here tonight. Darlell, good to see you. Thank you for the can. Good evening, Rise Brigade. Let's go. Wood USA dropping 217 gold pills. Let's effing go. What's up, Trump One? Thank you for the cookie. Good evening. I hope everybody's feeling well. Wood USA, yes. Hey, what's going on? I hope everybody's doing well, feeling good. What's up, Thea? Thank you for the 700 gold pills. Damn, the ad won't close on Pill.net. If you're having problems with that, I noticed that the other day. I had problems with it too. Either sign out, log off, and then refresh. I noticed that sometimes the ads are sticking points, and it doesn't refresh my platform at all. So what's up, Quantum Respawn? There's Curious Cat. Rob Stickler. That's a new name. Patty B. How you doing? What's going on? Quantum Respawn. Who else is here? Going through this list. Curious One. What's going on? Who else is here? There's some new names here and stuff. Super D. Good to see you. Thank you for the 117 gold pills. Let's see. Sausage Launcher. What's up? How you feeling? You feeling better these days? Yeah. Yeah. Sorry about Monday. So we'll try to get through this week and do more. I got a shit ton of stuff that I want to push through and get through. The chat is here on YouTube. We'll go back and forth. Did anybody see the ice thing that this garbage, this filth, this shit that's let's just say invaded our country illegally, and it continues on. And I have nothing but ultimate respect for these people and what they're doing, and the fact that they got to put up with this bullshit is ridiculous. So like, share, and subscribe. Drop us a gold pill. Hit the bell to be notified. Hit the red pill if you like the show. You can help us out on Rumble Rants, or you can help out marshallkofi.com/surfdog74. So let's get to the first thing regarding this. Now, I'm going to jump around a lot with the theft machine, and the war has no idealism. Let me lower the music real quickly so people don't freak out. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff that it broke over the weekend. I wanted to cover it Monday, but like I said, I had a lot of stuff left over from Monday, and I wanted to cover this. So why is this not doing this? Hold on a second. Oh, I gotta delete the comments. All right, let me close that out because it's not going to work. All right, so ICE agent struck by Renee Good's vehicle suffered internal bleeding. He was taken to the hospital in the torso. So he did damage his leg. He was injured, the DHS says. So Mayor Jacob Frybe had compared ICE agent's injury to closing a refrigerator door. It's embarrassing. But this is what they'll do because they have no choice in order to make this look ridiculous, obscene, absurd. I mean, this is the peak stupidity that the article that we're going to talk about very soon really gets into the frustration of this peak stupid, peak cringe class of people like this mayor who really doesn't care about his citizens of Minneapolis. He only cares about defending and protecting illegal criminal alien scum, especially Somalis who've grifted billions of dollars off the state that was signed off by the governor. Maybe this guy was involved with this too. Let's hear a little bit about this per se. Let me see if I can cover this, blow this up.
The city of Minneapolis has been in focus as protests break out after the deadly ICE-involved shooting last week. We've all seen this video of the moment it all played out. Let's watch.
That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you. Show your face. I'm not mad at you. That's okay. We don't change our plates every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen, former. You want to come at us? You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Out of the car. Get out of the car. Get out of the car.
Drive, baby, drive.
Let's bring in now Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey. Mr. Mayor, thank you for being here. In the immediate aftermath of that shooting, this was your response. Watch.
They are already trying to spin this as an action of self-defense. Having seen the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, that is bull. And I have a message for ICE. To ICE, get out of Minneapolis.
In hindsight, Mr. Mayor, was that the appropriate response?
I stand by exactly what I said, and to be clear, what I was responding to was an immediate conclusion that had been drawn by the federal government where they said, one, the ICE agent was acting in self-defense, and then shortly thereafter saying that the victim was a domestic terrorist. We need to be doing everything possible right now to have a full and fair investigation, and my deep concern is when the conclusion is drawn by the government that's actually doing the investigation itself, it's much harder to trust the investigation. We need to make sure that the American people can earn and gain that trust. And yes, I think there's deep concerns with having exclusively the FBI and not our Bureau of Criminal Apprehension at the state level conducting the investigation itself. This is an entity that has police officers and law enforcement and attorneys, people that have deep experience in investigating cases involving an officer-involved shooting. And by the way, they've come to conclusions and investigated cases that have resulted in charges and a lack thereof. And so, you know, our pitch is, look,
That's not true. So I'm gonna stop this here. The bottom line is that there were 7 people that wanted to try this officer. They resigned. There are other people now that are trying to arrest the officer in Minneapolis. Not going to work. Stephen Miller came out and put his foot down and said these people have immunity. And if you're trying to run them over and kill them, what is going to take place? He also said that it's not just that they're thinking about charging the lesbian girlfriend or whatever, the partner involved here for participating in this. The federal agent who federally shot, I'll bring this back up because I don't want to listen to this bagel in chief because his rhetoric is the one that, let's just put it this way, really ratcheted up everything. And Minnesota right now is on the verge. We are on the verge of seeing Minnesota. The schools shut down today. They're planning on moving protesting. They're now using the children at these schools, okay, to block the streets in some way so ICE officers supposedly won't run over the kids. That's what the argument's going to be. So the federal agent who shot Renee Colgood in Minneapolis last week suffered internal bleeding to his torso, and he was struck by our vehicle. He's hospitalized. I guess he's out right now. The extent of the bleeding, Agent Jonathan Ross was not immediately clear. They also doxed his home and his family. The health update came after Minneapolis Mayor Frey previously downplayed the agent's injury. The ICE agent walked away with a hip injury and might as well have gotten from closing a refrigerator door with his hips. Disgusting. This is embarrassing. Federal officials have said that Good pulled forward in her vehicle toward the ICE officer, acted in self-defense. Many have been told this law enforcement officer wasn't hit by a car. Meanwhile, Frey called any self-defense argument garbage. It's embarrassing. And let me state this before we bring in Marshall, is that because we're really going to break this down tonight and get into other discussions really about why are they doing this? Why are they keeping this going, this theft machine? And this is in order to what? In order to scurry away, to push away any type of what? Any type of spotlight and accusations. And further, what we're hearing, because they're impeaching the governor. The governor will resign probably by next week or two, because the fact is that he's not going to be able to face these charges. In the face of rampant racketeering, migrant driver driven fraud in Minnesota and other blue states, we reportedly discovered that the system is being manipulated to serve the interests of miscreants who want to steal from us and subjugate us. That's from altmarket.us. It's a great article I have that I'm going to cover. Marshall, your thoughts as we continue on. The mayor's now doubling down on stupid, continuing the lies, the narration, and then ginning up the pop of Minnesota to continue to, I guess, escalate at this point. Would you say at the level now there's a violence that is perpetrating through the crowd, and the ICE agents are not going to tolerate anymore. They're coming out, arresting people. They're pulling people out of the cars. They're doing what they're supposed to do. And I told you, a heavy hand is coming in to deal with these people because they have no choice. You have to see the pushback in order to see that we have control. All right, because once we allow them to take over, because there's going to be thousands of agents going through here, many other different people posting up. If we allow these people to take control, the city burns, Marshall.
Well, and some things that people don't know about all these involved. The lesbian girlfriend that egged her on to continue driving, she took her kids and gave up her kids. The other girl, the girl that got killed, she gave up her kids because she wanted to keep the lesbian girlfriend, and she had to give up the kids because the lesbian girlfriend was putting cigarettes out on the kids' arms. The other thing that they don't know about is that the cop that was involved in this, he was in a prior incident a few months ago where he was dragged way down the street and ended up with 33 stitches, I think, in his leg.
Yep.
So the news won't ever tell you any of this other stuff, and it matters. I mean, especially if you've gone through that 33 stitches, man, that's a lot. And the other thing is, this woman, this girlfriend that's still alive, she should not get one penny that they have raised on her, this GoFundMe. They've got.
Well, that's the thing. Where is this money going to go to? Is it going to go to her children? We're going to hear from the grandfather, the father, the grandfather of this child, whose son who died. Yeah, it should go to the kid. And we'll see if that's going to happen. KC Snowman 485 says these people are sick. Yes, when you understand, unbelievable to use children. They're shutting down schools, all right, and doing snow days, supposedly. Like every day in fucking Minnesota is not a snow day, all right? Come on. They're doing this, and they're going to use and march in the streets to block ICE in every way they can, using the school children as shields. Darla, gift of the can. Unbelievable lowlifes using children as shields. Wait, yes, and what they want to do is antagonize ICE to say, hey, look, if you're going to go through these crowds, you're going to have to hit the children. Yep, definitely. Let's listen to the grandfather of the son, Timmy Macklin. I don't blame ICE. I don't blame Renee. I just wish that if we were walking in the spirit of God, I don't think she would have been there. Listen to what he says and what this means.
Out front now, Renee Good's former father-in-law, Timmy Macklin, and he is the grandfather of Good's 6-year-old son, that little boy. And Timmy, we're really appreciative that you are willing to speak out. And I know you want to talk about Renee. Your son was married to her before he died in 2023. And now there has been this horrible tragedy for Renee. And of course, your grandson now has lost both his biological parents. You just heard the president speak about your former daughter-in-law. What's your reaction?
Well, I'm a Trump supporter also. And Renee was an amazing person. I mean, she full of life, full of joy. I mean, real gentle, a good mother. I just think, we make bad choices. And, that's the problem. There's so much chaos in the whole world today. And that's why the Bible says, if my people would humble themselves and seek his face and pray and turn from our wicked ways, God will hear from heaven and forgive our sins and heal our lands. And that's what we need to do. We need to turn to God and walk in the Spirit of God and, and let him lead us and guide us.
So is he referencing her decision to become a lesbian? Because obviously her previous relationship didn't work out, obviously with the boy's father, who's dead now, her former husband. So she decides to go the lesbian route, and he is basically saying that since she didn't follow the path of God, or the path of least resistance when it comes to following the tenets of what the Bible teaches us in a sense of morality, sense of, not being blinded and being gilded towards these types of misanthropes, miscreants that are, let's just put it this way. Who these people are. They're not good people. They don't practice the same type of religion you and I do. They don't believe in Christianity. They don't even worship God. They may say they do, but they definitely don't walk in it and practice it. And I wonder if he's basically calling out her decision or decisions to move a certain immoral path. I think it's possible. It's plausible because that's what he's setting this up. Let's listen to the rest of this.
So we have some news.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. I am sorry for your loss, because for your loss for you, it's your grandson who will suffer so greatly, and you have suffered the loss of your own son so tragically as well, her former husband. Your grandson's 6 years old. Have you been able to see him or talk to him since all of this has happened?
Not since it's happened. I've been blessed to see him, 2 or 3 times a year. He's an amazing young child. I mean, he's amazing. He's really smart.
Now.
And so I look forward to seeing him when I can.
I want to ask you about this. When you talk about the confusion, and you've been open, obviously, about your support for the president, when you look at the videos of what happened, and I'm sure they're very hard for you, Timmy, to watch if you've even been able to. But the Deputy Attorney General says that the Justice Department doesn't believe that there's evidence to back a criminal investigation, right? And nothing about charges or anything just an investigation into what happened in terms of the ICE agents' actions. But they were, according to the prosecutors resigning today, pressuring them to investigate Renee's actions and Becca, her wife's actions. How do you feel about all that?
Well, I'm not blaming anybody. I mean, it's a hard situation all the way around. It's hard for for everybody involved. I mean, the ICE agent, at first I didn't see the footage where, he was actually, he was actually being ran. I mean, I seen the bump of the car hitting his legs. And so in a flash like that, it's hard to say how you would react. From my understanding that he had been through that before, maybe dragged or something. And so, like I said, it's just a hard situation for everybody. Becca, she's a great person as well. I mean, I don't have any enemies. I love everybody. And that's what the Bible tells us, love our neighbors as we love ourselves. But, I think there's some bad choices. And the word says, for the wrath of God will come up on the children of disobedience.
Who do you think he's referencing to? We'll get at it. I don't want to play any much longer about this, Marshall. And I'll get to your comments in a second. Do you think in some way he's suggesting that that she made bad choices? Renee made bad choices based upon her relationship with Becky, if that's her name. I guess her name is Becky. Her wife, her lesbo partner. Was this really what he's referencing, or is it because the fact is that she was following suit upon what Becky had helped, let's just say, probably pushed her into? Was that one of the two choices? Was her leading that life, that immoral path, and going to this route? Was this her downfall? Is that what he's suggesting? Because he's not blaming anybody.
Yeah, I would say that's exactly what he's saying. And not only that, I think that he thought about this before he came on there for quite a bit. and he did the right thing he used their channel
Mhm.
to talk about the good book or the good word or whatever, however way you want to phrase it.
Right.
He mentions the Bible directly right on their show, which I'm sure she didn't like.
Mhm.
And she absolutely, you could tell the CNN lady there, whatever her name is, that she did not like at all what he was saying.
No.
I mean, she did not get and I really pray that he gets custody of this little boy. I mean,
I guess they're
I don't know
married.
where
So
the
if
heck
they're
this
I
kid
don't
is
know what.
at.
Yeah, but where does their marriage fall into? I mean, I guess
I don't think they were married legally.
He said they
That's-
were married. I don't know. I don't know if they were married legally or not. I don't know if it's the mother's family that has control of this kid. I'd like to find out. It's a good point that you said. Where's this GoFundMe money going to go to?
It really should
what's
go right to the kid, man.
Linda Perino on YouTube? What's going on? Hello, Razone 9300. James, what's up over there on Rumble? Excuse me, on YouTube. Hey, Brett, you know anything about to go down because the postal workers FOT letters to carry their stuff with them because they are essential? I'm not understanding.
Yeah, there is something with the postal service.
I haven't seen anything yet. You know my feelings
what
about
it
the
was,
postal
but there's
service.
something with them going on right now.
I'll check it out. I know there's a lot of companies right now protesting. There's some companies protesting because of ICE, and they're walking off the job because of this, which is ridiculous in some way. I'll find out about that. I'll look into the postal service. Maybe I'll cover it
Erin
tomorrow.
Burnett is the lady's name.
Erin Burnett, yeah. Darla, gift of the can. A person with common sense is a rare breed. Yes, exactly. And I think that this guy, the grandfather, was making objective points about the path that his former daughter-in-law went down. And those poor choices led to her death. And I would have to say that the wife, the lesbian lover that was involved, helped, let's just say, facilitate that in many different ways, orchestrated. And there's a possibility she might be charged as well, and I think she should be. Darla, gift of the can. Must have been true love to pick a child abusing POS over your child and said wife get you killed by saying drive, baby, drive. Yep. Thank you, Thea, for the 300 gold pills. Excellent comments over here. Trusty Turnip with the cookie. It will be going down in Iran tonight. Yes. I wasn't going to cover it tonight. I was going to wait till tomorrow. We're probably going to hit Iran in a lot of different ways because they've killed over 2,500 protesters there. I mean, God forbid that happen here in the United States. You think that would be allowed to happen in the United States? No, but they could burn down cities and kill many people they want on the left, and that's okay. But what's taking place, that's the article we're going to cover about the peak stupidity that we're facing right now that we're going to go over. Thank you, Trusty Turner, for the cookie. Yeah, and look, what installations are going to be hit that President Trump might choose to take these down if they're going to go hang protesters and kill more of them? Because, you know, you wanted to organically make sure that Iran does it on their own. We shouldn't be involved in this in some way. If we want to help facilitate this and make sure we move this along in some way, I get this. But what institutions are going to be hit in this matter that you could see possibly that would help? I mean, what are you going to do? You can hit more military institutions? Okay, that's fine. You're going to take some out. Thank you, Darlo. Gift of the can. Unbelievable low lights using children as shields. You bet. Thank you, Lucy Rosebettle, for the cookie. Good to see a lot of people here tonight. Yeah, I was off on Monday or unabashedly, and a lot of people are showing up tonight. So that's really good. I'm really glad to see everybody.
That's child endangerment, Brett.
Absolutely, but no one's wanting to talk about that because that's not a big deal. And again, the culture that we live in, that we can't talk about that because gay marriage is legal, and this type of stuff continues all the time.
Says she wasn't married. That's
well, if she was, yeah, he said, well, okay, well, the grandfather referred to Renee's wife as the wife. Excuse me, Becky as the wife. So did he just say that haphazardly?
Could have been just
okay, so they're not married then. So again, who has custody of this child? Did she, in the light of her, let's just say, did she have some type of, legal protection in some way, some type of thing that you'll take care of the child? I heard she was paid terrorist. They're all paid terrorists. I mean, listen, all these people that are facilitating, acting out, orchestrating this, they're all paid terrorists. Listen to this. I want you to hear this. Blaze Media, Minneapolis ICE protests beginning for a civil war, and we need to take this seriously. Yes, listen to this.
I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but watching the events unfold over the weekend, it's giving Civil War vibes.
Come back!
Absolutely it is.
Go to the gun store, get a gun, learn how to use it, and face you guys, man to man.
Yeah, I'm serious.
Ooh, scary. You're going to go to the gun store and then buy the gun and then learn how to use it, and then you're really going to show us. I mean, I might be scared if you guys weren't such bitches.
I got a couple of minutes
To cause a problem for the law enforcement officials who went out there to round up actual criminals. And so then you see, as you just saw, ICE and Border Patrol having to deploy tear gas in the middle of a raid because their vehicles were swarmed by rioters. Now, by the way, a lot of misconceptions happening online because most...
I'm not advocating for anything to happen in Iran. Alphabet, Omega Pill. I would hope that we stay clear of it. I want this to organically happen on its own.
I want them, yeah.
I mean, do I want to see 3,000 of these protesters dead in the street that are just pining for their own civil rights and their freedom from a repressive regime? Yeah, absolutely. I just don't know if I want to be involved or engage with this. And I don't know if that's a great idea. And so, again, I hearken back. What are these insulations they're going to hit? Let's listen to this. I want to stay on topic with this.
Because like the left is retarded. So I'd like to just remind them. I keep hearing this. Like, ICE isn't law enforcement. They don't have the right to issue orders. They don't. Yes, they are, dipshits. Yes, they are. They are a law enforcement agency at the federal level. And they do have the ability to go in. They have court orders, deportation orders. They have orders to go in and apprehend illegals. And if you impede what they're doing, it really doesn't matter if you're an American citizen, you still get consequences for that. They are law enforcement. Now, they can't deport you. I wish they could. Our country would be a much better place if we could just do that. I mean, maybe one day, President Trump, just saying. They can't deport you yet if you're a citizen, but we're working on it. I'm just kidding. Or am I? I don't know. You decide. But these are law enforcement officials. And
she's not joking. I've seen people discuss this about how to look at these people, because if you're taking money from foreign organizations, NGOs, people that are looking to do harm, and you're being paid to facilitate, orchestrate a certain narrative to create havoc, there's a certain thing that the Patriot Act called that. Marshall, do you remember what that was?
No.
You have no idea what that was.
In the Patriot Act?
Yeah. What was the number one thing that President Bush liked to tout all the time that people were in Gitmo for? Enemy combatants.
Yeah, if you're an American and you commit
an
act against your own country.
And Obama did that with people. So let me just reiterate the idea that it's out there in some way that you were paid to help push forth a rebellion, to create violence, to incite violence, to impede all these things that she's saying. You could be looked upon as a domestic terrorist. The concept of domestic terrorist that is put forth, that is out there, is through the Patriot Act and many other things. And the idea of you being called an enemy combatant is real. If it's proven that you are been paid to protest, you're not exercising your First Amendment right. You're exercising what? The value of you getting paid as some type of infiltrator. And that infiltrator not only disrupts this lawful act, but incites violence, causes a rebellion, and does many other subversive activities. You can be viewed as, and I believe a lot of these people, which unbeknownst to them, are being what? Monitored and looked at as subversives.
These crazy leftists, they can't tolerate criminals being deported from this country, illegal criminals. And it really feels like they're calling for just straight up civil, and they're calling to kill ICE. They're calling for seemingly a civil war, I think.
Show up with guns to face you guys. It's time for an armed resistance against the United States of America.
Take your mask off.
This is done. We're done. You're murderers. You shot a woman in a wheelchair.
Wheelchair?
Come back.
They have no idea what's going on.
Go to the gun store. Get a gun. Learn how to use it.
Learn how to use it.
I've been saying this for probably 2 years, if you've been following me, that we are in a civil war. We're in a civil war on many different, whether it's de facto or not. You're seeing it. You're seeing it unfold as we speak. And the idea, I'm not so far away about suggesting that enemy combatants aren't real, that these people are committing subversive, seditious, rebellious acts, okay, against the United States government. They're impeding. You know, the numbers are up. 3,200% of car attacks have taken place on ICE officers since January of last year. That's insane. And you wonder why now this type of, let's just say, heavy hand is coming back around. All is coming back around, and I think people need to be aware of it. And I think that you have to understand in some way, all these people are being monitored. They're being watched. I wonder how the roundup's going to look, because are these people that were actually involved? That's why I think Becky, the so-called lesbo wife, she's going to be arrested. I can't imagine her not being arrested, because if it's proven that she's being paid to do this, and you could see her actions involved in this that help facilitate and push her wife into running over an ICE agent, well, look out. She could be charged accessory after the fact, or attempted murder. If you think about it, attempted murder on her wife helped her what? Steer her into this position. So many other elements here from a legal perspective, Marshall. But what's your thoughts?
You nailed it on that, because they could actually definitely be charged with some type of as being insurgents.
Mm-hmm. It's a good word,
like an inside agent against the United States.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, and like I said, a rebellious insurgency, seditious. I like the term enemy combatants, because enemy combatants are basically people that were subverting United States government in a way against the government. And these people are actually being paid. They're not orchestrating or facilitating or utilizing their First Amendment rights just to protest peacefully. You could see that does not exist in any way, shape, or form. What is being done here, okay, is what? To obstruct justice, to abscond from the law. And in the process of doing it, they're being paid to make sure that they interfere with the U.S. federal government, the executive orders, and court orders. They don't understand.
So they're mercenaries.
Yeah, I would. They're Hessians. How about that one? They're Hessians.
Well, I'm not familiar
you like that
with
term?
That word.
Yeah,
That's
I would say they're Hessians, just like what the British hired during what? The Revolutionary War. Yes.
Okay. Well, learn
a
new word.
All right, moving on. I got more. Thank you, Darlell, for the can. We need the Insurrection Act before the kids get hurt by these stupid people. I don't care about the people. Now, here's the question, because someone asked me this the other day, and I was thinking about it. Can President Trump, is the Insurrection Act blind once he gives, is it blindly through everywhere? No, he can declare an insurrection. You can declare the Insurrection Act and invoke it for Minneapolis, for the state of Minnesota, just like Bush did in California during the 92 riots, LA riots. So he can individually do it from each state. That whatever he invokes, his proclamation will be set forth. Now, are they going to do that? It looks like that's possible. There's another 2,000 troops that are going, ICE agents that are going there. We're going to get to all the lawyers that are going there, and they're going to facilitate, fast track this, make this more fastidious in some way, so they can get the criminal indictments for all the fraud, organized fraud that's taking place. Who else is here? I heard. Okay. Yeah, I see you over here. I'm sorry. I'm just reading everything over here on YouTube. Subscribe and share if you're over there. It's good to see people over there. Leave me a comment or two. What's up, Max Dog? That's what we want. Let them in. Why not? Just cut their money off. Makes me wonder if they actually want to fix it. Yeah. Paid immigrants are paid protesters. We all understand this. Listen to this. The only Democrat that's coming forward and speaking, Fetterman, comes out in full support of ICE deployments and nationwide, and he breaks it down. And he calls out his colleagues. This is fantastic. Let's play this.
Skyrocketing, and it's like, that's unsustainable. When you reach almost 300,000 people, that's unsustainable. And we need to You know, as a Democrat, it shouldn't be unreasonable to want to secure our border and do it in that way. And now let's also talk about ICE. Now, absolutely, again, what happened in Minneapolis was absolutely tragic. And then now, if you think, now this is from the Washington Post, you know, this is the latest statistics. These are people that ICE now are at, no, it's like now 67% have criminal charges, pending ones, or that. So that's more than 2/3, you know, the people. Now there are some people that aren't involved in any kinds of illegal things, you know, but so me, I think two things can be true. You know, round up all the criminals, deport them. They shouldn't have ever been here, and they definitely have to go. And now I don't want to see more and more things happening in Minneapolis now too. So two things must be true. And I strongly reject the extreme on either side, you know, about this now. So we must be true. And, you know, I watched you earlier in your show. You just pointed out President Obama deported, you know, millions of people, and there wasn't having the same kind of outrage here, you know, here is from Democrats.
Because Obama was deporting people as he was bringing people in simultaneously. Most people didn't realize that. That's what Obama was doing. At one hand, all right, he was doing the magic trick. He's removing all these people, and then simultaneously he's bringing people in from the Congo. He's bringing in certain black and brown people from third world shithole nations, Somalia, Sudan, Syria. He's bringing in terrorists. He's bringing in people that are useful idiots, all right, with a low acumen, an IQ of 68, that are inbred, that can be easily manipulated and controlled. That's what Obama was doing simultaneously. Go ahead, Marshall.
Yeah, I mean, he
What'd you think
did,
about
and he
Fetterman?
brought a ton
The
of them
sixth
in. Yeah,
installment.
Fetterman, this guy, you know, this is a new Fetterman that, you know, remember, there's no more hump.
Right.
We had him, right?
I
So,
know.
but, you know,
You mean Uncle Fester? I know,
yeah,
Uncle
he
Fester.
he had a fucking thing.
Da-da-da-da.
But anyway, no, I mean, yeah.
Da-da-da-da.
But yeah, from Fetterman sounding really good. The liberals hate
As
him.
good as he can sound. As good as that guy can sound. You know?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I accept his attire now.
Yeah.
I fully accept it. So
Obviously. I mean, he's half man, half machine. You understand that, right? That's why he wears those clothes. He can't fit into it. His whole under thing is all like half machine.
better, stronger, faster.
Well, without
Remember
the
that?
faster, yeah, better.
know what I'm
He's not
talking
the
about,
million.
right?
He's not the $6 million man. There's no
Okay,
doubt.
well, he's
Yeah,
close.
because he can't hear. He can't think fast enough. He's no not Steve Rogers.
What was his name? Steve. What was his name?
Steve Austin. He's no Steve Austin, but that's funny. So Liberty Nation News puts us out, Minnesota in chaos. Again, we're going to go through certain articles today that really had some gravitas that a lot of people, even X and Grok, were picking up. They're saying, you got to read these. You got to understand what they're saying here. This is one of them. Minnesota in chaos as the left gears up for a 2020 redux. Yep, a failed state has become ground zero for an attempt to recreate the summer love. Do you understand what's going on? Not only the governor is being impeached, there's articles of impeachment right now. The mayor's on the hot seat. The whole cabinet of the Minnesota government is about to fall because of this fraud. Do you understand how bad it is? So if they fall and they're all resigning and stepping up, who's got to come in their place? Who's going to come in their place? All right. The government, the federal government, the military. You might have to have the marshals come in there. You might have in some way until they can go through this, clean this out, and then have new elections. But that's not going to happen. You have to sift through all this stuff. So who's going to be appointed some type of governor? It's not going to be the lieutenant governor. It's not going to be someone like that. Not if she's implicated in this way. The one who wears the headband, who pretends she's a Somali when she's really Catholic. Look, they had major problems in Minnesota. And if Minnesota falls, this could be just a microcosm of what we could see throughout the United States as many different blue state city fiefdoms fall. And I think that this will be, all eyes are on this, watching this, a massive fraud scandal.
Be a prototype.
Yes, this could be a prototype. Good point. A refusal to comply with the enforcement of federal laws, and now a governor forcing possible impeachment have put the state of Minnesota in front and center of the public eye in the past couple of months. On January 13th, 5 Republican state representatives drafted articles of impeachment against Governor Walz. I'm just going to skip through this. It appears the move is designed to primarily force Walz to resign. The governor seems to be in full panic mode. He finally admitted what everybody already knew, addressing the billions in misappropriated taxpayer dollars. He said in this state, there's full accountability for everybody because the buck stops with me, and you'll be held accountable for it. The 4 articles of impeachment of Walz is looking at the claim the governor allowed fraud despite being warned, engaged in the cover-up, allowed agencies to continue without further safeguards, and allowed safeguards to be ignored and failed to ensure agencies complied with anti-fraud programs. Minnesota is burning, ladies and gentlemen. It's trying to recreate the summer of chaos, or as one elected official infamously described it, the summer of love that swept through the nation in 2020. That result back then was violence and massive destruction. Now, if you're a citizen and you're not partaking in this, you're a citizen of Minnesota. You have businesses there in some way. You would be demanding that the federal government come in and facilitate some type of obstruction to protect this, or the National Guard. Now, the National Guard is on deck. They're not being used at the moment, but they're there. Renee Good, the woman who shot and killed after allegedly striking an ICE agent and her SUV, could be the catalyst. There's no racial element this time. Since Good was white, still the George Floyd riots were less about real or perceived racial injustice rather than they were a product of far left propaganda and activism. Yeah, and and the reason why it's failing this time around, the video footage is so clear, so precise that even left-wing rag organizations, news media, had to walk this back. It also is likely that the left no longer has the kind of funding that went into the madness of 2020. I think so too. Yet the heat continues to be turned up. Social media is awash with threats against ICE and many protesters. It's only a matter of time before the escalating trouble produces more deaths. That seems certain. Will the intensity of that unrest in Minnesota spread to other states? It is yet to be seen, but the midterm elections are a little more than 9 months away, and there are just a few more weeks until the spring is on the horizon. Additionally, the Democrats are reeling from historically low approval numbers. Look, the House of Representatives, the Senate, Congress in general, 15% approval rating. People are saying all over on X, switch your party. Don't become a Republican. Don't become a Democrat. Be unaffiliated or become independent. Don't vote these people in. Well, if you live in a primary state and you want to vote, you're going to have to stick one of these two-party platforms. Not many states don't have the primary platforms, and they allow independents and to vote. But in this case, if you're unaffiliated, that you don't vote. So that's just saying you don't care about the elections. You're not going to vote. So let me know in the chat, are you going to vote for the 2026 midterms elections? And do you really care? Does it even matter? Do you think it's going to make a difference? Do you think we're even going to have any? Marshall, your thoughts here.
Well, I'll tell you what, if we do have at least local, statewide, I'm definitely voting in the primary for Florida governor.
Mm-hmm.
We can't.
Well,
we got a hot mess on our hands down here.
We have a hot mess.
I know we can talk about that later, but
no, we do have a hot mess. I mean, I'm not arguing. Again, just throwing that out there. I'm not one to tell people. I'm not going to go out. I think that's stupid. I don't tell people not to vote. I think that's a bad idea.
No,
when did we stop telling people not to vote when just 4 years ago we're telling people to vote? So the people that are telling you not to vote, become unaffiliated, don't vote in these things, don't listen to them. Okay? They are paid influencers to distract you from the truth.
Yeah.
I disagree with that premise. Yes, I don't like Congress either. I don't like the Senate. But, you know, we have governor's races here. We have local municipality races. I'm not going to sit back and say, oh, I got to listen to my local influencer and tell me, yeah, just become an unaffiliated person. And you know what? Don't vote. It doesn't matter. Well, how did that work in 2020? We did vote and it was stolen. And that's what you're going to find out. So, yes, leading up to that, the mirage, the illusion of 2026, when everybody comes quite aware and certain, when it's legislated out in some way, legally, through the Supreme Court or something, and it's shown to everybody with great detail that cannot be turned away by any way, shape, or form, that 2020 was stolen, get out. People will be like, fuck it, I'm not voting. Shut it all down. That's what they'll demand for, Marshall, and they'll be calling for that.
You know, I'll tell you, man, it's just like anything in life. Not doing anything is not a good idea. It's not going to help you. It's not going to
just sit on the sidelines. Yeah, don't do anything. Just jerk off for the rest of your life.
Your house needs to be painted. You're just not going to paint. Look, if there's an election, you still got to do what you can.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just, you know, that's that whole, no. Don't let people tell you that. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
Don't vote. Give me a break.
No, I just, yeah, I don't like that premise. Don't vote. Don't do this. I'm not telling that at all. And I think people that are pushing that in
That's a
some way,
liberal type.
I mean, that is definitely those people that are sitting, that pretended to be on Trump's side, that are now turning against them. We go about we talk about the dark MAGA or the fake MAGA, a lot of the influencers that do that
every month.
Yeah, I'm not listening to people to tell me what I need and not do. Okay. Because they're basically trying to convince you that, everything's stolen, which it is. Everything is either selected, it's rigged. Don't waste your time. Don't bother. Yeah, and look what happened. Thea, thank you for the 700 gold pills. Darlo, gift to the can. I haven't seen illegals protesting, only white Americans, not even blacks. What the fuck? White people fighting for criminals. America has lost 2 generations at least. Yeah, I think so. I think it's not just white people. It's like white women, a lot of white women,
all the white
ages.
Women,
yeah, a lot of white women out there. A lot of white women all over the place.
Replacing their motherly values to this.
I mean, it's just strikingly odd or eerily odd that you're seeing more and more of that. Yeah, and now some Somalis are being arrested, and they're coming out in defense of them. I mean, who would defend people that defrauded your state, defrauded your country, that stole money out of your pocket? You want to hear something unimaginable? Well, you're going to hear something that's happening right now. This would piss you off even more. Breaking: the state of Maryland accidentally overpaid $807 million in unemployment benefits. The problem is, large percentage of that money, people never received the check. The state says the money cannot be recovered. Oops, our bad. So who got the money? Nationwide fraud. They're stealing your money, and this is part of the great theft. I got more of this.
Marie Newman say they don't care about the finger pointing. They want to know if someone stole their identities and if they're going to be held responsible for paying back money they didn't get.
Well, I found it alarming, alarming and irritating.
Marie Newman and her husband, Almond Sorrell, say they never applied for or received unemployment funds, but an overpayment letter from the state claims they got nearly $1,000.
This is crazy.
Now,
either that's a clerical error, or we've been scammed, or somebody's taken their identity, because we're both retired.
We pay our bills, we pay our taxes, and to get a letter sort of impugning that we owe money for something that we never got is it's concerning. It's difficult.
Now, a state audit has focused on how Maryland handled unemployment benefits over about 4 years, ending in January 2025. It finds the state overpaid more than $807 million in benefits, a vast majority of which it cannot recover.
It's incompetent at its highest level.
Republican delegate Jesse Pippy responding to the audit, which also found workers were not properly supervised while processing the claims.
I want to underscore that these findings of the over $600 million that are not going to be recoverable in overpayments, 90% of those payments happened during the prior administration.
Labor Secretary Portia Wu says the department has made structural changes to fix many of the problems. Another finding in the audit: state law mandates that someone must be notified within 3 years if they were overpaid and owe the state money. Many of the letters sent by Marylanders to WBAL TV 11 News Investigates are far past that deadline.
The letters certainly add insult to injury. The fact that they're not eligible to recoup this money and they're still sending letters to Maryland residents 5 years later is completely unacceptable.
In a statement,
So the question is, do you pay that back? I wouldn't pay that back. I wouldn't pay that at all. Casey Snowman, stop paying taxes. I have. Yeah, I mean, if you don't have a family that you're going to get all these deductions and you don't need it, why put yourself out there? I understand that. But for people that are going to get deductions, are going to get money back, people have S corps, LLCs, and businesses, they have no choice but to file in some way. And I agree. 16th Amendment shows that it's bullshit. We understand the taxes are, and I think this is probably one of the last years that we're going to see it, because everything will be right there in our face. We have amount of fraud that's served on our dinner plates every day, and a lot of people are just getting tired of it. Like, why would I have to pay back $1,000 of unemployment benefits that I never signed up for, Marshall?
That whoever that lady was at Wu, Ms. Wu,
yeah,
from wherever she's from, you know, she's sitting there saying, well, that was from the last administration. So she's saying, well, you know, sorry about all the money, but hey, it wasn't us. It was the last guy before us.
Right.
You know what? Yeah, Brett, I want to say something. Can we just get regular toxic, masculine white men running our country again? Can we get that? Maybe that might straighten things out. I mean, I don't mean
Maybe.
to sound crazy.
Maybe, but if you're one of these people that were defrauded out in this way, I wouldn't be paying it back. I mean, Tracer C4 puts this up. Welcome in. You said that people who were already out of work for years got unemployment during COVID. Lots of money were stolen by fraud. I know a few people who did that. Sadly, yeah. Glad. Good to see you. Sorry, I missed you the first hour shoveling snow. Where are we shoveling snow at? Sorry, Sobs. Couldn't predict 6 inches of ice. Wow. And ice. Wow. Yeah. I mean, look, I'm not going to going back to that time period, the amount of fraud. Well, I mean, we basically are bleeding fraud out of our asses and our ears everywhere. I mean, we're just with a nation of grift. It's unbelievable. And we're being forced. So, yes, I think the argument of not paying your taxes and the pushback is coming. I'd like to see how many people are not going to. I'd like to see the argument of that and how many people are just saying, you know what? Fuck your $2,000. Fuck this. I don't want this. I'm not doing my taxes. And see what happens. I mean, I'm not going to tell people to do that, but I'd really like to see how people are not. You know, I like the thing is about Florida, what's going on, property taxes and everything else. That is going to be something that's going to be quite interesting coming up. There's a massive push about that where people are saying, don't pay your property taxes. I want to see how that plays out. All right, got more to come on this. Illegal alien plays battering ram with this vehicle. Again, the fight is still on. I'm showing you a lot of this stuff. It's all over the place. The violence is continuing. And look, restraint on this ice bubble. He grabs his gun.
Watch out behind you! Watch out! Holy! Watch out in front of you! Watch out in front!
Get out of the car! Get out of the car! Cut it off! Cut it off! Now! Cut it off! Right off the car! Cut the car! Cut off! Come out of the car! Right.
Now the gun's gone. It can easily shoot this guy.
All right, here with reaction, ICE Director Todd Lyons. Todd, I mean, if that doesn't educate the public about these ramming incidents, I don't know what else will, on top of what happened. You know, previously, we now have 3 in recent days. Very dangerous now. Do you tie a lot of this danger to the rhetoric of people like Tim Walz, who compares ICE to Gestapo?
Yeah, Sean, unfortunately, when we hear elected officials calling upon individuals to impede or obstruct, ICE law enforcement operations nationwide, you're going to see incidents like this, and that was a video you're probably not going to see on mainstream media, right? That actually shows exactly what's happening. You saw the officers and agents attempting to apprehend a criminally illegal alien, and there they are using their car as a weapon. The lead vehicle, the ICE vehicle, the gray one that was struck, that officer had to go to the hospital with neck injuries. And every day, Sean, this is what the men and women of ICE are facing.
And it's out of control. And that's in Texas. That's not even in Minnesota. And they can easily shot that guy who was a criminal alien. So the point is that I'm showing you just pictures of what's going on because war has no patience for idealism. As we continue on, Marshall, I got so much more. Let me play this because I want to get back to more of the fraud. Look at this fraud that's taking place. Again, the great theft that is happening. And this comes from Libs of TikTok. And look at this. Okay. The audit finds the state of Maryland paid out $760 million in fraudulent unemployment benefits. The thing that Democrats say never happens keeps on happening.
Insurance benefits. The letter demanded
this is another person
return $250 to the state, alleging she'd received an overpayment in unemployment benefits.
Another
The problem
person.
is she's never applied nor ever received an ounce of unemployment benefits.
I've been working at the same place since 2018.
Cross believes she's been a victim of identity theft and fears the state has been shelling out unemployment benefits to a thief. In fact, according to a new state audit, in the past 5 years, the state has shelled out millions of dollars in overpayments to recipients who should never have received them. And according to the audit, the state did not timely pursue recovery of claimant overpayments totaling $807.4 million.
That's in Maryland. That's another person that's dealing with more and more people are going to find out they're going to be owing all these types of bills, all these types of different for unemployment that was skimmed out, whether it's identity fraud that was given out or it was helped some way to be siphoned out that the government of Maryland, the state of Maryland, participated in, the previous administration, as they like to say. The question is, who did that? And who are these people that were receiving this money? We don't know. Marshall, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's just every state. This is going to drive people out of their minds,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that this has been on the cooking. This has been on the back burner, waiting to be brought forward. I believe that this is just another thing that the people of the American people have to see. They have to feel it. They have to experience it.
Mm-hmm.
And once we get there, then, as you mentioned, and we've talked about before, then you can open the floodgates for the insurrection and all that, the Insurrection Act and all that other stuff. So,
well, that's the point. I mean, like we said, this is the year of the audit and everything, year
Yeah.
of the review, and you're seeing all the fraud, all the abuse, and people losing their minds over it because they can't handle it. And the question is, how many of these people that are going to be engaging in this seditious insurgency, this enemy combatant type of behavior, are they all going to get rug pulled as well? That's my thought, because I don't think a lot of people are going to just walk away from this and just get a slap on the wrist. If you are in any way interfering with this, you're in deep trouble. And the fact is that we're seeing that Walz and Jacob Frey, all right, are going to pay a high cost, and the administration of Minnesota, the cabinet, the elected officials over there are going to pay a high cost, and they should be charged from not just creating this insurgency, ramming this up, but allowing this type of thing, allowing the schools to close so they can protest this and use these kids on the streets as shields. That's a fucking disgrace. That is absolutely a disgrace. And they are going to take this into cities, into towns during the day, all the time, where ICE agents are. That is disgraceful, and something has to be done about that. Where is the school administrator? Why isn't the governor coming out and saying, no, we're not closing the schools and stuff? Why is it the school superintendent allowing these types of things to take place? If you come to America to rob Americans, we're throwing you in jail and sending you back to place where you came from. Look, my advice there, putting them on planes right now, put them on cargo containers, just like they were smuggled in, with some water, a little food, little toilet they could shit in, like a bucket of KFC, and then fucking push that thing right in the fucking ocean. And let them swim home to the shithole countries they come from. Haiti, Somalia, Sudan, whatever third world scum. And you know what? They could float and use the money that they stole on the way out.
Citizenship of any naturalized immigrant from Somalia or anywhere else who is convicted of defrauding our citizens. We're going to get them the hell out of here fast. And if you come to America to rob Americans, we're throwing you in jail and we're sending you back to the place from where you came. We're throwing you right in jail. We're also going.
Look, it's happening. We see about over 80-something Somalis already been arrested. Some of them they're going through the process right now in the Senate to denaturalize and to deport these people. That is going to happen. That nobody has a tolerance for this. All right. You don't think that you can get away with $700 billion of fraud and no one's going to come after you? $1 billion up to fraud, $9 billion. It's kind of like what's that scene in Die Hard where Hans Gruber says to McClane's wife, it says, about blowing up. You think that we could just escape with the bearer bond? So you're just a common thief, and $600 million, they will come find you. They are coming to find these people. All right. You just can't walk away from all this stuff. People just can't turn a blind eye of it. You can't. It's just not possible because there are too many people, too many eyes on it, too many people reporting about that, and you don't have faith in the system. The system is going to collapse based upon the fraud if it continues. Just like you're saying, Snowman, I haven't filed taxes in 3 years. Good for you. Good for you. Yeah. And that's that. We're going to get to the sanctuary policies and everything else moving forward. Let me put this out. This is the other thing came out. This is part of the theft. We saw this. This came out from MJ Truth. It says, holy cow. Scott Bessent said they're putting together a whistleblower program for the rats turning each other in Minnesota. Representative Tom Emmer announced that he has multiple Minnesota state employees coming forward. I mean, think about how much the government is involved with it. The Tim Walz government, okay, the administration per se. Emmer says he thinks that enough is to bring criminal charges and put Walz in cuffs, arrest him. So basically that's coming. I'm not going to play this, but listen to Scott Bessent. Today we're putting together a whistleblower program. I want to listen to this.
Houses in Portland, someone bought those lasers. And again, what we do is follow the money, just like we followed it with the mafia, just like we follow it with the drug cartels.
Rico.
And we will find out who's done this. I announced today that we are going to put in effect a whistleblower program. And my sense is that the rats will turn on each other. That, as I believe you reported or someone talked about in the roundtable today, one of the Somali fraudsters tried to bribe a juror with $120,000. What turned out, she'd been given $200,000 to bribe the juror, and she skimmed $80,000. Like it's like the scorpion. It's in their nature.
In their nature. It's in their nature, Marshall. What's your thoughts on that? Bessent, man, he's killing it. But I think they're going to track and trace everything. They know where all these payments went. You can't have that much of money just disappear, especially going in and out of the Minneapolis airport. How about Ohio? Hearing Ohio and other Midwestern states.
When we get to California.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, but the scent man, I like that term. The scent man.
Yeah.
Essent. You know, when he mentions the mafia, that really gives a little chill up my neck.
Yeah.
I like the sound of that because that's all this is, Brett. And all I've ever said in this show for probably the whole year since it started, that this is a global organization. It's a crime syndicate. It's a global crime syndicate, but it's run by the governments.
Yep.
And it's funded by the taxpayers.
Yep.
You can't lose.
Here's another big thing that Bo Loudon puts us out. President Trump just hit it, that Somali fraud in Minnesota goes deeper to election fraud. This is part of it. This is massive. Minnesota is Trump country. I won 78 out of the 87 counties. Election was swung by corrupt counties. Trump has been right about everything. Think about that. Think about this little blue area over here and how much fraud was siphoned off, how much money, how much grift and graft was going out to steal that, let's just say those counties with those fake ballots to pay people to do this. Yes, no, man, I'm tired of being a slave. I'm 67, retired. I don't give a fuck anymore. Good for you. No, I don't blame you. A lot of people have the same sentiment. They feel the same way you do. They're fucking sick of it. Everybody's over this shit. People are tired of this. They're tired of waking up to hearing about this, but this is what I said that we're going to see during the holidays, that this is the year of the what? The audit. Everything is coming due, so to speak. Everything is coming due. We'll move on. Like, share, and subscribe. Drop us a cold pill. Questions, comments, or concerns, you can help out Marshall. Ko-fi.com/surfdog74. Let me play this, and then I got to jump on a couple of other things because I got to move this forward. All right, so listen to this. The Trump administration is now surging more federal attorneys into Minnesota to aggressively prosecute immigration cases. Awesome. Supercharged the largest deportation operations in U.S. history. Think about that. ICE agent involved. Really good. You're going to have prosecutors there right then and there in the process, not just indicting them, arresting them, charging them, and then deporting them. This is fantastic.
Is sending fresh federal prosecutors into Minneapolis, and that those federal attorneys are going to actively and perhaps aggressively prosecute immigration cases under the Trump agenda. Sandra.
All right, Matt Finn, live there in Minneapolis for us. Thank you. John?
Fox at the
That's massive. That's massive, Marshall. I mean, they're looking to be expeditious about this as well. People are not waiting for trials and all this stuff. They're going through this, arresting people, charging them, and then moving forward with the process of setting them up for the deportation, setting them up, hold them accountable, and move them out.
I imagine they're probably they probably are going to secure or rent a convention space, like in a hotel or
Gonna have to
some convention space where they have a large area and they can have a table for every judge.
Mm-hmm.
And they've set up a court lined up, and they just run them through, process them through like a meat packing plant.
Yep.
And ship them the
Confiscate
hell out
all
of here.
their stuff. You confiscate all their stuff.
Absolutely.
They forfeit everything. They forfeit their bank account. They
All their
forfeit
money.
everything. All their money, all their possessions, their homes, anything that they got from ill-gotten gains will be forfeited. Okay? And then you process them, and then you set them up for the denaturalization and deportation process. It's perfect. It's good. Again, being expeditious is important because that's what we want to see. This comes from one of the best articles I've seen that's written, altmarket.us. I read it quite a bit. This came out on the 8th. How dare you fight back against communism? I'm going to fast track this, but I'm going to drop it in chat. The goals of communism, socialism are essentially the same. The core difference is socialism seeks collective control of populations and resources through incremental and peaceful subversive takeover of governments. This is exactly what's taking place. We have seen this dynamic on display when it comes to highly organized activist sabotage networks that stalk and impede lawful deportations of illegal aliens. This week, one female activist was shot and killed while allegedly trying to block ICE agents. Let's put this out. In my studies on various communist insurgencies over the past century, there's a clear pattern, a specific strategy that is almost always used. For a lack of better description, as of today, we can call it the strategy of cry bully. Here are the basic cry bully communist operations. They work with the very same oligarchs, corporatists, globalists they claim to despise. They happily take money of wealthy institutions, NGOs, and do the bidding of the least elitist masters. They employ illicit funding to pay for the mobilization of an astroturf army of provocateurs. That's what we're seeing out there. And agitators, useful idiots, will naturally gravitate to this army over time because they are wrongly assume it's grassroots. Now, the question is, will they be held accountable because they took money from these people? That's the question. If you receive money from these corporatist globalists, all right, to be subversives, to be agitators, provocateurs, astroturf army, think about that, what he's saying here. They use propaganda to justify the activist sabotage and disruption of target society by falsely claiming that they represent the will of the populace and the rights of the disenfranchised. Again, I say, will they be held accountable as well? All these people that are being arrested, that are all being rounded up simultaneously, they've been given the green light. The heavy hand is there that they will bring them down. What will they be charged with? They wrap themselves in the identity of the victim. They are poor, downtrodden masses, the poverty-stricken underclass. They are the abused, mistreated majority suffering under minority overlords. Anyone more successful than they are, or anyone who opposes their beliefs. Therefore, everything you do, no matter what, how vicious, deceitful, and destructive, is morally exonerated. Think about that. That's exactly what you're seeing. The insurgents then agitate and provoke and poke and prod the society until it reacts to defend itself. When they finally get hit back, leftists then cry the tears of the wounded underdog. Excellent. Then they attempt to abuse the laws, principles of an existing system in order to punish anyone who defends themselves against communist provocations. When leftists can't control the law, they wail and rage over its rightful application. They act as the enforcement of basic law and order is the same as the government tyranny. How dare you fight back? How dare you subject them to punishments they deserve? A great and fabricated drama unfolds. Leftists play the role of martyrs who only want to be free, who only want equity and the same prosperity enjoyed by their betters. They only want to protect the rights of the vulnerable. In reality, they are militants trying to burn down your freedom and prosperity and pillage what they can in the process. I'm going to drop this in the chat. I suggest everybody read, share this excellent article by altmarket.usa. Really gives a self-explanation, Marshall, about how you can view what you're seeing today, and it doesn't go unnoticed. The question will be, the one thing that I'm posing that the article did not talk about, will the same people that are the insurgents, the agitators, the provocateurs that we're hearing, that we're discussing in this, read that article. Let me know what you think. Do you believe they will be that they will go unchecked? That in some way that you were being paid, in some way, I don't know, however you're paid, whether it's GoFundMe or something, to do these types of things, will they be held accountable and liable as well for committing acts that are, let's just say, rebellious against the United States government?
Well, I tell you what, the one word that stood out to me in that article was equity.
Mm-hmm.
The liberals like to use that word equity.
Yeah.
And equity only means that if a lot of people on this side make a bunch of money, but then these people over here on this side, they don't make any money because they're stupid and they didn't work hard, that they need to even it out and everybody gets the same amount of money. So all the people that busted their ass, they have to give up half their money because these dumbasses didn't. I am so sick of this vernacular from these people, Brett.
Yep.
And I know you got to keep going, but
well, it's the same choice of words that they use in altmarket.us really puts it in perspective. It actually levels out the discussion. The only thing it does not really go into that I discuss all the time, will the paid agitators, the provocateurs, the insurgents that are there, that are paid to actually obstruct, abscond, and to attack, disrupt this whole type of rebellious whatever against ICE agents or what happened, will they be held liable? I mean, was anybody really held liable for burning down cities they did in 2020, the George Floyd lights? I mean,
all of them should be, I think. They should
yeah,
be sanctioned.
I mean, they should be. I don't know if
should
anybody
have all
was.
kinds of money taken from them for that shit.
Right, excuse me.
And
Yeah,
maybe
still
even
fighting.
locked up.
Listen to Trump. Listen very closely to what he's saying about sanctuary cities.
Like California.
February
style,
1st, ladies and gentlemen.
Right away, we're going to send out that notice. Who would bill the federal government as people poured into the state to send those people back because no country can afford to do it. No country can afford to take in millions of people, pay for their education, their health care, their hospitals. You just can't do it. And we all have a heart. You can't do it. But many of those people are murderers.
I don't have a heart. I'm sorry, I don't have a heart. I cannot see myself through this having a heart. I'm sorry. I can't. It's the same thing I would say, look, what's happening in Iran, it's sad, but I don't want to see us involved in that. And I don't know what we're going to do to help facilitate and orchestrate for them not to be executed. I mean, it's terrible what's happening there, but I'm an American citizen. I care about America, and America's burning down all around. And as much as we want to see a revolution in Iran, new leadership, a new government, all that, I know that we could do multiple things, chew gum, walk, all this thing simultaneously, but this is what I want to see. Darla, gift of the can. They should use water cannons on the protesters, wet and cold weather. They'll disperse quickly. Well, remember, they were talking about the idea about, I thought you were going to use rubber bullets. Remember that was being discussed? These are ICE agents. This is not the National Guard, okay? These are law enforcement officers, like police, federal officers that carry armed weapons, okay? And they will use it to defend themselves and put people down. Let's continue.
There are people released from jails, prisons, mental institutions, insane asylums. There are people that are drug dealers. They're addicts. Additionally, starting February 1st, we're not making any payments to sanctuary cities or states having sanctuary cities because they do everything possible to protect criminals at the expense of American citizens, and it breeds fraud and crime and all of the other problems that come. So we're not making any payment to anybody that supports sanctuary cities. We have also suspended nearly 8,000.
And that's coming February 1st. Darla, I just went through Christmas, then property taxes, insurance, my deductible at the doctor's office, and then expect more to come from April. Yeah, I spent $400 something at the ENT. I'm like, where's my insurance? When does that go through? You already charged me $200 something at the door. So I got to pay the full amount? When does the insurance kick in? I'm not fucking paying that. I already paid you. Fuck off and die. I'm not going back to you. That's my attitude. Go ahead, Marsha. What's your thoughts
Everything
here?
is a scam.
Yeah.
I've said this before. I said it a while back. Everything in America, people are finally realizing that everything you do is a scam. I mean, it's like you look at your cable bill, right? Mm-hmm. You think it's just one fee.
Cable? Who has cable?
Well, whatever.
I have rabbit
your
ears.
internet, whatever, your internet, your phone. And then you look at the bill and there's like
I steal my neighbor's cable.
There's a fee for this. Yeah, right. There's a fee for this. There's a fee for that. There's some kind of user fee. There's like
usury or user fee.
Yeah, well, that's all it is.
Yeah, it's usury.
It's all mafia, Brett. It's a one big freaking scheme.
So just in literal busloads of illegal aliens. This was today or last night. Were just flown out in Minneapolis by a DHS Boeing 737, being sent back to where they came from. This is despite the rioting. So this all happened.
Good
I'm
people.
not going to play over. So all these people, they're just going on the planes, being sent back. It's fantastic. It's great. It's awesome. It is happening. People think it's not happening. Let me continue on. I got to move on. I'm not going to cover too many articles on this because I don't want to. We're running out of time. I just want to show you this because, we've been saying here on the show, there's something off and odd about Trump's connection with Mandami. So why have they been texting? So this comes out from Axios. They're texting like friends. Oh, let me put my email in. Hold on. So they're like buddy. Trump and Mandami's stunning show of congeniality during the meeting followed months in which they repeatedly insulted each other, but they seemed to get along swimmingly in front of cameras. Once they met in person, Trump and particularly lavish praise on Mandami. Wow, you're even better looking in person. Mandami also sought to charm Trump during their meeting, winning him over by chatting about New York City neighborhoods. It's unclear what subjects Trump and Mandami have texted about, or exactly or how often they've been lighting it up. Mandami has plenty of reasons to keep him good working relationship with the president, including preventing him from withholding money from the city as he threatened or sending in the National Guard troops. Again, I'm moving forward with this. We're just expediting all this stuff out quickly. Marshall, I said to you a while ago, and I said that these two, he's part of that. What's that called? That people use all the time. That use that linguistic discussion about him. You could tell me this in the chat. I always forget what this is. That he's shiny object, military thing, or whatever people call it. What does he say? You're center stage. You're
central casting.
Central casting.
Yeah, he's
is he based? Look, I think this guy's a plant. I'm just telling you right now.
And I'm telling you, look, Trump saved the life of the Egyptian. I think it was Egypt. No, Saudi Arabian prince.
Mm-hmm.
He saved that guy's life. They're like this now. And then this guy is, so there's something going on here. I agree with you, Brett. There is definitely something going on with this Mandami.
Yeah.
And they're playing the prayer call every whatever it is, 5 times a day or something.
Right.
I think that's all part of it.
Mm-hmm. I think so too.
That's all. We're going to abuse the shit out of you assholes that voted for us.
Yeah, I just think that he was a straw man installed there to block the Democrats from getting in there. All right. And he's going to be utilized as possibly as a puppet that will follow orders or take orders in some way. And again, that terminology, that linguistics that people like to use, that central casting, really just pushes back on this because it would be odd. Why would he? When he basically calls Trump a fascist, it's all a facade. I don't believe any of it's real. And I think a lot of people are really overlooking that.
He's an empty Trojan horse.
Yep.
Think of that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
All the liberal, everybody's not the liberals, but a lot of he's a Trojan horse coming into New York. He's an empty Trojan horse.
Right. The quest for peak stupid. This was a great article that everybody's talking about. American Thinker. My discussion. Stupidity is so dense, it has its own gravitational pull. Yep. This is the Darwin Award speed run. Room temperature supernova. Yeah, a gold medal stupidity, Olympic level retardation. Yep. This is the overlooked value of social media and now provides people with global platforms for broadcasting rank stupidity. This is good. I'm just going to fast forward here. From Tehran to my birthplace of Minneapolis, wrote Martin, people are rising up against systems that wield violence without accountability. In Iran, brave protesters confront a far-right theocratic regime that crushes dissent and denies basic freedoms. This is my point about how you look at what they're going through and what's happening here. They're dealing with real institutional reforms for basic freedoms, okay, that we take for granted here, that the communists use against us for their own rhetoric and to wield that type of violence onto us. The cry bully syndrome that I just read you from altmarket.us. This is why it ties in, which is the point where his false equivalence jumps the rails. American protesters, both paid and organic, are not being denied a single basic freedom. Damn straight. They can protect protest to their heart's content, and they could scream and yell until they go hoarse. What they cannot do is stop the enforcement of immigration laws. Until 10 minutes ago, virtually every Democratic politician of my lifetime supported it. It's true. As Casey Stengel used to say, you can look it up. Even left-leaning publications such as the New Yorker makes the point. Both Clinton's, Obama, Schumer, and even Potato Joe are on the record as opposing illegal immigration, ticking off its cost to the country and the taxpayer. Because Peak Stupid is a never-ending contest. All right, it did not take long for another worthy contender to weigh in. This is a person who posts under the handle Just Not Samantha, who lives in Minneapolis, and this comment may be the record-setting for a lack of self-awareness. You can read it here. I'm not going to play it. If you'd rather not, Sam was headed to the grocery store when it occurred to her, and that the rest of us needed to know just how clueless she is. She got fired up on the iPhone, and comedy gold poured out. It occurred to me that I should have specified to my husband exactly which grocery store I was going to just in case. So I'll do that after this video. Sam is an American citizen, so just in case what exactly, I'm not sure of who needs to hear this, but ICE does not habitually snatch up young AWLFLs, affluent white female liberals, not even to momentarily shut them up. What Sam left out was how the last several months demonstrated to anyone paying attention, a demographic that does not include her, that the real threat to white women is career criminals turned loose by the justice system. Yep, the sad story truth that played out with the murders of Charlotte, Auburn, Alabama, continued with the woman being set on fire at a commuter train in Chicago and another lady being doused with acid in Savannah. There are no doubt other similar stories of criminals gone wild, courtesy of leftist judges, but our pal Sam is concerned about being snatched up by ICE because that's what she's been told to fear. As the saying goes, you can't make this stuff up. And I guess that's the point about this Peak Stupid article. None of the people who are criticizing ICE are making this incident into the example of gender relations in general, where there are many of the latter, or has been, or had a thing to say about any of the four incidents. Let's just say Lincoln Riley. No one's talking about that. That happened in murder at Georgia at the hands of illegal immigrants, or any other violent crime carried out by the cohort of non-residents who are being so vigorously defended. It is selective outrage at scale, and it goes back to the New Yorker article cited in the third paragraph, which the newspaper editor has a moment of remarkable honesty in criticizing Dems for the problem of their own making. By the 2020 election, not one word in the party platform spoke to border security. Not one of them. Any mention of deportation was couched as something to be avoided, and the party kicked around ways of making it easier for people to immigrate. Again, shooting yourself in the foot. The best thing about Peak Stupid is that it keeps on giving. It is bound by neither time nor place, and it is the prize that appeals to all while ensuring that it can be attained by none. Because anytime you think you have heard the dumbest thing ever, along comes someone else to raise or to lower the bar. It is an eternal contest, one that ignores all differences in race, sex, ethnicity, shoe size, golf score, and any other points of individual differentiation, and it's glorious. Great article. Great article. I'll be dropping this in the chat. Again, read these articles. You'll get an understanding about where we are in this country. The Peak Stupid, as they're putting out. I like to call it Peak Cringe, because that's it. That's how it is. You can't. We debase ourselves on a daily basis, and we watch people that are so stupid. What's that movie you mention all the time? Idiocracy. Yeah, which is basically that's what the article is based off of. All right, to discuss
give water to a seed.
Right. You can. And how far are we going to go? How far is the bar going to go? All right, in this world that we live in, Marshall.
Well, and not only that, that whole article reminds me of the cell phone, the wonderful cell phone and TikTok and things like that.
Right.
Social media, because it has shown all of us how dumb fucking people are. I mean, really, it has shown us. There are so many stupid people on social media, Brett.
Yeah.
You see them we all see them every day. And it's just like, it doesn't end. And actually, it's probably a good thing.
Right.
So that we can finally see like who's who and what's what.
Is this one of them? Joe Rogan compares ICE taxes to Gestapo.
Yeah, it's close. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, you notice how all the people like Dave Smith and all these other people that supported Trump all of a sudden now turning their backs on him. All the lefties that pretended they were going to sit on the fence of independence and support Trump, all coming out and attacking him. Thank you, Trump One, for the cookie, and Wood USA dropping 817 gold pills. Need more gold pill love. Thank you. Support the stream. When it comes to deportation operations in the United States, Joe Rogan has consistently had a liberal viewpoint on them. He has. All right. So this is where he goes in some way. Actor. Exactly. The host of the Joe Rogan Experience claimed that ICE agents are acting like Gestapo. Podcaster Joe Rogan voiced sympathy with Americans who have expressed anger and frustration at the way President Trump's administration is conducted. Here we go. You don't want militarized people in the streets just roaming around, snatching up people, many of which turn out to be U.S. citizens. Out of the what is it? They had like 89,000 or some number like that. They have with the way they have caught 170 were U.S. citizens. Okay, and some of them were charged and detained for, again, impeding, obstructing, and absconding the law. So the idea that we're snatching up U.S. citizens when the number is less than like 3%, because they're caught up in this, he doesn't break that down. All right, he doesn't break down the people in the cars that are getting involved in this, that are arrested simultaneously, that are attacking ICE agents, likely referring the president's deployment of National Guard soldiers to aid in a crackdown. He added, are we really going to be Gestapo? Where's your papers? Is that where we come to? Yes. Yes. We have no choice. There's orders out there, executive order. There is laws passed. President Trump was elected. 84% of this public wants to see the borders closed and the rot removed. Considering all the fraud, waste, and abuse that's gone on, all right, the criminality, all right, you'd have to think about all these people that are involved. It's much more bigger than we're assuming. And of course, he wants to lead that out. Rogan, who was interviewing Senator Rand Paul, here's a beauty, said issues concerning immigration are more complicated than anyone wants to admit. No, it's not. If you're illegal here, you got to go. All right. And now going through the deportation naturalization, so that's a denaturalization system. That's great. We got to talk about anchor babies. We also have that Supreme Court ruling coming up on the 14th Amendment, Section 3. That's going to be big. Trump's immigration agenda reached a flashpoint last week following the immigration custom enforcement officer fatally shooting a 37-year-old. Hey, Joe Rogan, you don't want militarized people in the streets roaming. What do you think the people are doing? What do you think these people, these paid provocateurs, what I just dropped, agitators, communists that are there interfering with these orders, all right? It's not like something willy-nilly. There's executive orders. There are court orders to remove these people. Are we really going to be Gestapo? Where's your papers? I'm not going to play it. Tim Dillon here's another beauty, told his 1 million subscribers on YouTube, ICE agents shot her. Minneapolis mother Reagan was not a well-trained law enforcement person. That's not true. Dillon began denouncing people who are interfering with ICE as they patrol the streets. Okay, so he has a slight change of his opinion. But if you disagree with ICE, as many do, blocking federal agents, and I'm not saying this woman was doing this, by the way, but I do think she was part of a group of people who were trying to interfere what they were doing. That's the whole point. People only want to look at this black and white. There's a lot of gray in between, but again, you're starting to see a lot of the cracks out there of people who pretend to be in some way not supportive of this. When 84% of President Trump's election was based upon the mandate. All right. The mandate says, I said swift, profound, and absolute. It must be done. There is no other way. You can look at this, all right, in any way of not removing the illegal rot that permeates through this country, that grips and grafts over this country, that are used as useful idiots to steal from us while you can't pay a fucking doctor bill. Or you get what? You get identity theft, and you got to come back and pay $1,000 to a government who doesn't have any self-fucking control to regulate itself. There is no longer a time that I can look at any of this in any way. If you are an illegal in this country, and maybe we need to go through that process of, let's just say, reinstitutionalizing the idea, or let's just say profoundly looking at the ideas that even if you are legal in this country, I think there's a bigger argument to make. If you're part of this fraud and grift, you lose your rights. And that is the next thing that we're teetering on right now. You lose your rights. When do you lose your rights as an American citizen? When you engage in what? Working with the enemy. When does it become treasonous, subversive, seditious? When you become an insurgent, when you're being paid to overthrow your government, When is it time that we stop sitting on the sidelines and start not acting? The idea in some way getting caught up about the Insurrection Act really is only toggled to one thing, Marshall. All right? Habeas corpus. If you suspend it, then people lose their rights, at least for the time that is given based upon this. And that's outside the posse comitatus. That's the only way you move forward, where you systematically just arrest as many people as you can. Whether you're a citizen or not, and you're caught up in all this stuff, well, there you go. And, ultimately, the system will work itself out. I mean, regular Joe Schmo people like you and I are not out there in the middle of the fucking snow at 10 degrees, blocking and obstructing and absconding ICE agents from what? Arresting criminal aliens, especially the Somalis, all right, who ripped off the United States government for $12 billion. And the government and the governor, articles of impeachment, he hasn't resigned yet, but he's coming. He's coming, Marshall.
What's wrong? What's wrong with Gestapo tactics? I don't know what's wrong with that, because the last time I checked, the Gestapo were ejecting the Bolshevik communists out of Germany. I mean, that's you can call it what you want. You can label these names, these fancy names. You're a Nazi and this and that. It's so tiring, Brett.
Yeah,
I
good
mean,
old
look,
Rand Paul. Yeah, geez, I know. The guy who always fames, the independence that he is, and all these different things.
Yeah.
What has he done? What has he
Nothing.
done lately? Nothing. He hasn't done shit. Did he do
Never
anything
has.
with Fauci? He hasn't done anything with Fauci. They still can't get arrest warrants for this guy. Darla, gift of the cookie. I'm sick of rhino cucked and backstabbing podcasters. Light up Rogan's channel and tell him to kindly fucks the hell off. Yeah, he should. I mean, a lot of people right now, a lot of these people are showing who they are. And it's unbelievable they're going to say, Gestapo. What about the people that are fucking absconding and trying to run over the agents, try to kill them, attack them? What about those people? I don't see anything in the Constitution that says my right to protest says if an ICE agent comes out, I'm allowed to jump him, run him over my car, shoot him, or kill him. Doesn't say that at all. And none of these protests are organic. None of these protests are really what you could constitute legally organized grassroots. Because once you tie back the paper trail of money, you become what? Less of an American citizen and a paid provocateur insurgent, and maybe a seditious element that you can call an enemy combatant once you're picked up and prosecuted. I think so. Drive, baby, drive. So Renee's good wife can be arrested too. This is what I'm saying.
So Minnesota has a law on the books known as felony murder. What that means is that if you go out and commit a felony and a death occurs as a result of you committing that felony, even if you didn't directly cause that death, say, for example, you and your friend are going out impeding federal law enforcement, which is a felony, and then your friend ignores law enforcement and you tell your friend, drive, baby, drive, and you hit that law enforcement agent and that law enforcement agent puts a bullet in your head, your friend who survived, who told you drive, baby, drive, can now be charged with murder. That's the law in Minnesota. The people of Minnesota have decided that if you do that, you're a murderer. Don't hold your breath.
No, I'm not going to hold my breath about that, but I wonder how, because it's not going to be a state charge, it's going to be a federal charge. If federal charge is going to come after Becky, or whatever the hell her name is, the gay lesbo lover who told her to do this. All right, we're moving on. There's too many important things that we have to discuss right now. Let me see. I don't want to cover the Clintons, but let's see. NPR Supreme Court both standing. So let me just put this out. We're just going to streamline it right now. I got a couple more things I got to cover. So this was big. Judicial Watch put this out. Supreme Court Rule 7-2. The candidates have inherent standing to sue federal court over election rules. This is huge for election integrity. So if your election was stolen and you believe in some way, then you have a right to what? Go and sue. And remember, this happened in 2020, that a lot of President Trump, you can't sue, you can't do this, you can't do that. Now it goes back to the states. you have election integrity by what? By challenging these things legally on every level. And I think this is great. All right, moving on, because this was a big one. I know NPR covered that. I had more. Let's see what else. Oh, this is one of the things in the title that I have to cover. The sound that kills, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody knows what happened in Venezuela, right? Well, it was talked about 75 people died during that raid up to that. And that's what we're finding out. That's why there's a whistleblower that happened to get, let's just say, pinched recently. He's serving time in jail because he gave out a lot of information to a reporter that we're going to cover briefly. But the point is that Biden's Pentagon secretly bought military device believed to cause Havana syndrome. And it's reported that they used this sonic type of weapon in Venezuela. The Pentagon, during the last days of the Biden administration, secretly purchased a device that some investigators believe could be linked to the Havana syndrome, a medical condition that has impacted U.S. service members, diplomats, and spies. The device, which has some Russian components, was bought by Homeland Security investigators using funding from Defense Department, and now has been tested by the Pentagon for over a year. The Hill has reached out to the Department of Homeland Security and the Pentagon for comment. The device, which produces radio waves, shock waves, sonic booms, is being studied and is a subject of debate of whether it was connected to an anomalous health incident known as Havana syndrome. The existence of the device was first reported by the intelligence journal's Shasha Ingbar. The argument was that this device was reportedly used in some way to deliver the knockout blow when these people rendered, let's just say, incapacitated. And in the process of being incapacitated, they were not able to repel borders, and they were, let's just say, off with their heads, Marshall. What do you think about that?
Yeah, and I believe this is going to be used. Well, I won't even
So do
say
you believe
that.
the story that they got it at
Yeah,
the end,
yeah.
and
No,
now we have it and we're utilizing it?
I believe, yeah, I do believe that there was certain technologies, not just one, but probably numerous and probably used in Venezuela. And the message is going across the board, across the world, and these people are seeing it. These people in Denmark or whatever they are, or these people,
Yeah, I'm going to
they
cover
better
that.
they got nothing.
All right, I got to cover this.
Yeah, I'm not going to go, but yeah, no, I do believe that. We've
So-
got technology now, I believe, Brett.
No, so
it
whatever
was
they
tested.
purchased at the end, we're utilizing that, and we utilize it in Venezuela. So the leaker on President Trump's Venezuela operations was put in jail. Listen to this.
Another piece of information.
This is about the
that I think
reporter's
is very
house that was
important is the
raided.
leaker
Now,
has
she
been
wasn't arrested.
found, and
They just
she's
confiscated
in
all
jail
her
right
stuff.
now. And that's the leaker on Venezuela. And a very bad leaker. So there could be some others, and we'll let you know about that. We're out on their trail, but the leaker has been found, and the leaker's in jail.
Wow.
And will probably be in jail for a long time. Let's see what happens. So we'll let you know. We'll keep you apprised as to what's going to happen with that. And I want to thank all of them.
So that's interesting. So this was leaking out stuff that was being used. This was in a contractor that was leaking out to a Washington Post reporter. I'm not going to cover it. But the bottom line of this is not only giving information ahead of time of this, let's just say, military incursion that was going to take place. This was also information regarding what was utilized during this, how it went down, how it was brought down, how did they get in there, a lot of stuff pertaining to Maduro. And all this Washington Journal's stuff was seized in some way. All right, we got to cover Greenland. It's big. I'm just going to blow through this right now, and then we're just going to really end on this. But I'm not going to read all this, but I got so much. This comes from the Republic. Trump says anything less than having Greenland is unacceptable in the hands of the United States. Really comes down to Trump saying that NATO helped the U.S. acquire Greenland, emphasizing the territory's importance for national security, and claiming that anything else would be unacceptable. He argued that Greenland's control would strengthen NATO against potential threats from Russia and China. Now, I'm just moving out of this because there was a lot of commentary about this in some way. There's an argument being made right now. I read this from Gazette Teller because right now, the Greenland Annexation and Statehood Act is right now in the House. It was introduced on January 12th and marks a critical moment in the global balance of power. Randy Fine, how about that guy, has taken the first step to move to make Greenland the 51st state of the United States. This bill empowers the president, Donald Trump, to act without delay, permission from foreign powers, taking full control of Greenland's resources, shipping routes, and strategic locations. How about that? They're going to try and pass this in the House and move this forward. Now, the question is, why did they have the delegation there right now? What was the point of having the delegation that the vice president and also the Secretary of State were talking about? Now, CNN was reporting that they want $700 billion up to that point. No one's going to want to pay for this. No one's going to want to pay $700 billion for this. All right, in any way, shape, or form. All right, breaking. Ursula just showed her hand. This is the EU president. Disgusting. Listen to this.
So it's up to Denmark and Greenland, and only to them, to decide on matters that are concerning Denmark
Only
and
to
Greenland.
them.
That's point number one. That's very important. Greenland is part of NATO. And when we are speaking about Arctic security, this is one of the core topics of NATO. And we know that the glue between the allies is the fact that there's always the clear motto, one for all for one. So NATO is one forum to integrate the different interests that are out there.
What do you think about that? I think there's something there that she said about Article 5, talking about one for all for one. What happens if President Trump says, I'm not going to be a part of NATO anymore. We're leaving NATO. Does NATO come back and give us Greenland? Do they take ownership of this and say, look, we can't have them leave? Is that what's on the table? Is that the perspective? Are we basically ending, for once and for all, our, let's just say, a semblance in this corrupt institution that basically does nothing? They have no good. They've done nothing to help the United States out. President Trump has made the point. They've done nothing to help the United States out. In fact, they've done everything, whatever. They just sent 13 German soldiers over there. They have the EU right now is trying to facilitate its troops over there to Greenland in some way. What? Like we're going to go over there, guns blazing, and shoot each other? Is that what's happening? So they want to move fast on Greenland, but they don't want to move on Ukraine. You notice that? And for their own safety and protection and viability, they would rather have what? The globalists would rather have China and Russia make inroads to that fucking island in some way than the United States. What does that tell you? I think President Trump's message to the EU and NATO and stuff is saying, see you later.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's already a done deal. I think it's a done deal, man.
So this is all theatrics. Like today.
I mean, I don't know if it's signed and sealed, but I think it's a done deal, man.
Well,
there's
right now
nothing
they're
they
trying to
can
pass
do
it in the
about
House.
Brett.
Well,
There's nothing they can do about it.
Right. There's
it's gonna
nothing they
be done.
can, but they want something out of this. Here's the point.
Well, they'll get 700 billion, maybe. I don't know.
But I think a lot of people are not going to like that because the numbers for this are not good. Justin, Danish foreign minister, walks out of the meeting with J.D. Vance. Marco Rubin says Donald Trump has not budged even a little on taking Greenland. No shit.
Honestly speaking, I didn't believe
that
was doable. We didn't manage to change the American position. It's clear that the president has this wish of conquering over Greenland. We made it very, very clear that this is not in the interest of the kingdom. There's a government in Greenland with support from 3/4 of the Greenlandic population. The premier made it very, very clear yesterday that Greenland, for the time being and for foreseeable future, will remain within the kingdom of Denmark. And therefore, this is a common position that we want to work with our American friends and allies, but it must be a respectful cooperation and it must respect the red lines. But it's not.
What red lines? What red lines are they talking about? Darla, gift of the cookie. If the ICE agents were allowed to do their jobs instead of being attacked by leftist liberal lunatics, they wouldn't have to be put in a position to protect themselves from lunatic fringe. Yeah. I mean, that's the point that no one's making. I mean, it's clearly obvious. I mean, we've made that point rather clearly, but a lot of people just want to see them. And no one's even saying that, well, they have a mandate. At least Tim Dillon was saying, well, they have a mandate. They have court orders to what? arrest these people and pick them up. They're illegal in this country. They're breaking the law. Them being here, all right, is breaking the law. And it's not just that. You don't know how many people have been picked up. About 12 or 13 people that were picked up that were Somalis, all right, that were murderers, that were rapists, that were in this country. No one's talking about that. Again, they don't want to talk about the real facts. They only want to make this about what? Some fucking woman who got shot in a car who tried to run over an ICE agent, and she got what she got, and no one really fucking cares. No one cares. I don't fucking care. I don't have a heart for these people at all. You have to look at these people as what they are: rebellious insurgents, insurrectionists. They, I would consider themselves not just paid agents or provocateurs. These are the enemy. These are enemies of the federal government, and they would do everything they can to run you over and kill you. They don't care about you. They're only there to make a buck. Marshall, your thoughts about the foreign minister speaking about this? What do you think? What sense of do you get that the foreign minister is talking about? Are they still dragging their feet? Is this all theatrics playing out? I want to show you this.
I don't think anything he said matters.
Right.
I think everything he said was just blowing smoke. You know, it doesn't matter.
Right.
And I think he even knows it. He even knows that all this stuff that I'm saying doesn't matter because the United States is gonna get Greenland.
Well, I think it's already a done deal. The question is, how did it become a done deal? Was this deal already done back in the 50s and we're just resurrecting this? Was this part of an EU deal? Was this part of a NATO deal that was reconstructed? Someone has to tell me. I have to get an understanding. All right. I mean, it's not just the capitulation and stuff. I mean, they're frothing at the mouth. They're freaking out. So the question is, explain to this. Are they slow walking this idea to hurt President Trump's numbers? Look at these numbers. U.S. voters' opinion on Trump's push to acquire Greenland. 17% adults, yes. 36% don't know. 47% no. 40% Republicans, 46% don't know. 14% no. Democrats, 19% yes. 79% don't know. Or no. Other, 9%, 40%, and 51%. So you could look at that margin other, and you can get a good view about where we're at. It's close, meaning 9% don't know, 49 versus 51. Good idea for the U.S. to take Greenland. Look at these numbers, 25% to 71%. Republicans, 32% to 60% no. Democrats, 89% no. Other. So the idea and stuff, are they slow walking this to hurt President Trump's numbers? Are they trying to hurt and attack President Trump? Is this to weaken him with NATO? What is the objective that we're seeing right now that we're understanding? 17%, 47%. Come on, man. Yeah, I know. I noticed those numbers. That was on semaphore.com. But again, some of these numbers, is it just too obvious or is it too oblivious to a lot of people? A lot of people aren't really dialed in to the idea what this means for the United States in some way. They look at this stuff again as another, like, what is President Trump doing in some way? And they're critical of him, calling him an imperialist, that he wants to take over, but they don't really have a clear understanding because the media doesn't do a good job of explaining it. They do everything they can to take him down. But what is the base element that we're missing here, Marshall?
Well, it's the opening of the Arctic, that whole area. There is a certain area there where the Arctic is losing some of the ice, where there's going to be an opening that's going to come down.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying that like globalists, not globalists, but these climate change people.
Mm-hmm.
There's certain parts that lose ice. There's other parts that gain ice. But up there right now, there's going to be another opening coming up soon.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I think Trump that's part of the reason he's on this whole Greenland thing. And it's because it's going to open up channels for these big ships to come through from China, Russia, etc., or whoever. And I want to add that when you look at the map of Greenland, it is not that big.
No.
Compared to the United States. It's about 25% of the size.
I agree with you. I think this is more about trade. This is more about making trillions of dollars, working with Russia. This is not just protecting and fortifying Iceland and UK. This is all about money, trade, and what have you.
Yes.
And they don't want the United States to gain a foothold in there to control this in any enterprise, because they know that once that is done, that the EU will be positioned over this. And I think in a lot of ways, if you really disqualify the notion, any thoughts that the world is being carved up, which it is, China's controlling Asia, Russia's controlling its own central part of areas that it has that are, what is it? Is it east of everything? And the United States is controlling everything of the West. So you have what? So the whole global order is collapsing under three dominant positions,
Right.
China, Russia, and the United States, that are seizing up the wealth, the trade routes, and all these other things. And they're going to work independently or outside of that, while Europe is being squeezed because of the migration problem and everything else. Operation Greenland comes from Amuse. Trump reached out directly to the people of Greenland. So Denmark, Russia, DC. They want a cut of the money. It's always about money. They legally gave up what they agreed Greenland could leave anytime. Representatives from Denmark and Greenland, excuse me, have arrived at the White House to meet Trump. And will the president agree to give Denmark some of Greenland's money if a deal is done? Interesting. Trump named a special envoy to engage directly with Greenland, bypassing Denmark. Danish officials demanded involvement once it became clear that any U.S. acquisition would pay Greenlanders alone. Both Greenland and Denmark are now at the White House discussing the next steps. Obviously it's about the money. I mean, that's a good, let's just say, supposition by Amuse. But I'll say this. Now that it's the most strategic territory, it comes from our friends over here on GazetteTeller.com. Greenland has always held a geopolitical significance. But in today's world, with climate change opening up, it's not really climate change, is that the trade routes and the areas, the natural trend of ice melting in the Arctic is continuing on. And that opens up shipping routes and melting ice, revealing mass mineral wealth. And it's no longer just a piece of frozen territory. It's a key to the Arctic dominance.
Yeah.
So one of the things about the secrecy about the Arctic and all the regions and stuff is that it was covered vastly, mostly by ice. And so there's nothing there for them to really, let's just say, extract out. But now that everything is changing and stuff, they see a financial game. They see it from not just strategically, but they see with the rare earth minerals, the location, the positioning of low orbit atmosphere, the military implications. Both Russia and China have expanded their military presence in the Arctic. Russia has developed military bases in the region, including nuclear capable submarines. We only have one station in Scotland. So without control of Greenland, the U.S. would finally find its military positions vulnerable in an era where technology and military defenses are interconnected. They understand that region, low orbital regions that we have a Tool Air Force Base, and also Starlink and many other different things that we'd have to rely on NORAD or even Canada before we scramble planes to shoot it down or something else, tells you that this is something more, I think, bigger than we're really thinking. And I think that why would the globals want China and Russia in there? I mean, why would they want to make a deal in there per se over them? Think about that. A move for national security. The resistance, Greenland's Prime Minister, Jens Frederik Nielsen, has made it clear that Greenland prefers to remain autonomous under Denmark, and demonstrated by 2008 referendum where they overwhelmingly voted to maintain their self-governance. I think this is basically posturing, ladies and gentlemen. This is all about money. And the idea that was floated out by CNN that was saying that Marco Rubio said they want up to $700 billion. Now, where does that $700 billion come from? Does that come from the fines of mineral resources? Is that a finite amount? Or do they want us to pay up front? Do they want to pay us in gold? What is the trade that they're going to want in this way? Do they want a piece of the pie? This is the negotiation that Trump is trying to make. He wants them completely out of this, 100% out of this, Marshall. And I think this is something that a lot of people overlook.
Yeah, you know what, man? I think the trade and the money is a big deal. But I think in the Arctic, there's something bigger there. There's something there.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't want us to know about it.
Yeah, that's
And
the
they've been
other
hiding
point.
it from us.
Yes, that's the other thing that most people don't really talk about. I mean, that's the conspiracy.
Is there an ice wall? Whatever.
That's the other thing they don't want to talk about. What is going to be uncovered,
What's under that?
rediscovered?
Yeah.
What's going to be uncovered, rediscovered for future that they are concerned, that they feel that they don't want. So how do they have an inference of knowing what it is that we don't? Because that we've been sheltered in some way? I doubt that highly. I think that President Trump has, let's just say, maneuvered this purposefully in this, and in some way it goes back to the idea, how did he know about this? How did they all know about this? Was this strategically put in place? Stephen Miller predicted in 2003 Trump would be president. One of his professors said Miller told him he wanted to be number 2 in the White House in about 15 years. When he asked Miller who would be president, Miller said Donald Trump, maybe. Listen to this exchange.
What's that?
My former student.
I'm sorry, say again.
My former student.
The Stephen Miller in the Trump administration?
Yeah.
Did you want to say a little bit more about that before we listen to this clip?
He said that I asked him in 2003 what he wanted to be when he grew up. And he said, I want to be number 2 in the White House. And I said, oh, when do you want to achieve that? He says, in the next 15 years. I said, wow. Okay, well, who would be the president in 2003? And he said, Donald Trump, maybe.
What?
The guy is very smart.
Where was this?
And Duke is in Poli-Sci 122.
You had him at Duke?
Yeah. It's true story.
You could have told, I mean, I do a lot of homework here, Hein. You could have told me this before the program.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. There's no question he's a very smart guy.
And he has a long-term vision.
Was he a good student, by the way?
He was very good.
A very good student.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? I mean, to say that in 2003,
Stephen Miller.
He's at Duke University, you know, and it's just kind of odd. How would he know about that? How would he have any inkling of knowledge, knowing that he's a student back at that time in 2003? And in some way, he knew that President Trump would be president, and then he would be in a position of what? Number 2, as he says there. What's your thoughts about that? I mean, again, a lot of times that we start to see these things come back, that how do you have the foresight to see that vision? How would you? I don't think anybody believed that. I mean, 2003, the war in Iraq is raging, and you know we just got over. You got over the everything's going on with the anthrax, and then you got Patriot Act. You got all these things happening, and he says that in class. Think about the time frame to have that foresight, that foreknowledge. How did he know? How did he predict that? Why suggest something like that when we've been so deterred and we were distracted with everything that was going on in some way? What was it? Don't you think that's odd? How would he know that?
Is there certain? I mean, my thought is there certain people in this planet like Trump and Stephen Miller and others that are around, you or me even, that have some kind of foresight, some kind of connection to something. I'm not saying you or me, definitely, but I'm being facetious in a way.
Right.
But we're on a low level. But these guys, there's something going on, Brett. I mean, if this guy did this and said this, like, what was it, 15 years before?
16,
like,
2003, he was in college in Duke.
Okay, so like 12 or 15. So there's something. I think we are going to be seeing things we've never seen before. We've already seen things over the last, 7 or 8 years that we've never seen before. We've seen evil, we've seen good, mostly evil lately.
Yeah.
But I think it's all of this stuff is almost like, I don't want to say biblical, but it's like a surreal, out of body kind of. There's something going on, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Something. I don't know what it is, but there's something there. And I don't mean to sound like cryptic or anything.
No, I know. So I want everybody, next time you go to a doctor, I want you to ask your doctor this same question.
Miss Verma, can men get pregnant?
Dr. Verma,
Yes.
I just want to make sure we're
Dr.
all
Verma,
addressing
can
each
men
other
get
with-
pregnant? As a doctor, give me your opinion. As a doctor, can men get pregnant?
I mean,
I'll move on to the next one. Is doctor,
God,
can men get pregnant?
Jesus Christ.
No.
I know you're a lawyer, an AG, like I was an AG. Can men get pregnant?
No.
Miss
Wow. So Josh Holy had a great one. Yeah, Dr. Verman. Remember that next time you go to a doctor. So you want to figure out if this doctor is adequate enough to treat your illness or whatever, and you want to make sure that you're not dealing with one of these sassy people. Yeah, lunatics. I mean, when a doctor who can't answer that question, it's time for you to walk out of that office. This goes back to the same discussion with the vaxxers that I had fights with doctors. I'd fucking walk right out and say, fuck you. And here we are right now, knowing full well, as Bobby Kennedy said, the chickenpox vaccine causes what? Not herpes, but the other one, shingles. Causes shingles. I got chickenpox twice. I didn't get the vaccine. I got it twice. And from that, I do believe I had a form of shingles and it went away. But I can tell you ivermectin cures that. But that tells me hepatitis B, and they knew full well it caused autism for years. And 3 million people, 3 million children took that shot. This is what I'm saying. Just because it was doesn't mean it's going forward. And the idea that these people can't answer the question truthfully and honestly. How about going back to whole milk? Promoting whole milk. I'm lactose intolerant, but I'll still drink milk because I never believed milk comes from nuts. And you can't convince me one way, Marshall. Milk comes from nuts. Oat milk, almond milk, nut milk.
God,
I mean,
Jesus,
what
I've never even done that.
Have you read on the back of it? They're genetically engineered. Go to Aldi. I would never shop there.
Oh God, I would never go there.
Go to Aldi. Almost all their stuff there is genetically engineered. All of it. Read the ingredients.
Garbage.
Look at
That's
it
why
on the
it's
milk.
cheap, man.
Next time you go read nut milk, go look at it and see what it says. And tell me I'm
After
crazy.
this whole thing today with, I think it was today or whatever, with the whole milk.
Yeah.
When they started talking about, I'm like, I remember when I was a kid.
Yep.
And they introduced this 2% shit. And as a kid, I'm like, my mom and dad, my mom's like, gotta have the, I'm like, no. I look, and I was right, even as a kid.
Well, I know.
And it tastes so good.
Yeah.
Whole milk.
I
man,
drink that. What's it? The Pure
and I
Life.
don't
I get
drink
the
it, but I want to
2%.
go out and drink some now, man.
Yeah, I mean, warm milk. But I like the lactose intolerant one I could take, the Pure Life or whatever it is. It's pretty good. Quantum Respond. What did you say? You said something. Oh, I'm a lip
butter
intolerant.
Too. Butter.
Yeah,
I love butter. Man.
Yeah, butter's great too. Darla gifted the can. Good spirit beings. Yep. Well, thanks everybody. That's our show. I will try and do a show tomorrow to make up for Monday, a pop-up, and Marshall and I will return on Friday for the We Are Rise show, for the Trifecta week and stuff. That's it. Have a good evening, blessed evening. Be well, be safe. God bless. If you want to help out Marshall on the way out, kofi.com/surfdog74.
Get better, man. Get better.
I'm going to go down and have my third bowl
worked out, man.
chicken noodle soup from scratch to homemade, everything in the crock pot made. I'm going to have my
got to put a matzo ball in there.
a matzo ball. No, I'm going to have that. Soup's all this week because it's going to be cold. I'm going to have a lot of soup. That's our show.
All right,
take care. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.